Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Sundays with Sully. As you can tell, we've taken a field trip today. We are not in the studio. We are at Airmar. Now, you guys might be familiar with Airmar because they do pretty much the big four transducers, chirp technology, all those things, but we're not talking about that today. Today, we are talking about Smartboat. This is something they released fairly recently, within the last year, and I want to highlight more of this because as we look into the refit market, as people are looking to go and they want to get, whether it's engine data, they want to get, fuel tank levels, all those kind of things into the NMEA network and onto their MFDs, that's where this Smartboat box from Airmar comes in. And that's where Chris right here comes in. And he's going to tell us a little bit more. We're going to give you guys a real brief, high-level overview. And if you want to know more, we'll get into that later.
Well, excellent. What we have here is our Smartboat program as part of our SmartFlex line. What Smartboat allows you to do is to take multiple sensors over different protocols and integrate it into the box to see it across your NMEA 2000 network. We can take, as you've already said, the J1939 data. We can take a secondary network, NMEA 2000 network. We can take ONA3 network. We can even take new diesel flow meters and import that into the box and put that across the NMEA 2000 network. With that network, one of our biggest features is the alerting system that we have involved in the boxes. You can really customize and communicate and also actually control other devices amongst the network by looking at all the devices on the network and create conditions that may not be available now. You may always want to know if you have a low fuel warning, but you may not want to know that, hey, I'm burning more fuel, I'm using more fuel than I'm actually using. Say you have the diesel flow meters on there, and your diesel flow is actually going, I'm only burning 2 gallons an hour, but we're actually dropping 10 gallons an hour for some reason. It gives you something in warning. You can say, hey, let me know, put it on alert, push an alert across the standard NMEA network to put an alert, or you can even have it with dash lights or alarms, whatever you would like to control. Some of the other features that we have on the network is our wireless bridging between the boxes. The whole app is web-based, so it works off of Wi-Fi, so you don't need a separate software in order to run each of the modules. By having either a laptop, your iPad, your phone, as long as you can walk into the wireless, you can communicate with each of the boxes and talk to each other, and they can also communicate wirelessly amongst their boxes. So You don't have to have all the boxes on one network. They can actually be on two separate networks, say one in your engine room and one at the helm, and talk back and forth and take all the data that's going into, say, your engine data into your engine room, take that, transmit it up to your main network behind the dash, and actually see all the PGNs that it's converting the J1939 into.
So it's hardwired. It's still going to be hardwired in. You still end up with one box that's hardwired into the network for the NMEA, but we are able to bridge these. So if you have multiple, right? Like let's just say one of the nice features with this is we can do 8 signal inputs if you have an older boat that has the analog gauges, your oil pressure, your engine temp, those type of things. We can go ahead down in an engine room, right? Mount this. And they have a very simple web-based drop-down menu right here. You can do it from your tablet, your phone, and you can tell it, this is oil pressure, and then you choose your sender, is it European or is it American, and set all of those parameters up. And even if you don't know, you can still see it in there, correct? And then tweak it accordingly.
Yeah, if you have a device, you know what it is, an American standard, European, it's easy drop down. It's all drop down menus, easy to select. But if you don't know, you can measure it. Say it's a device you don't know what it is, it's older, it's worn off, you don't know what it is, you can measure it. But you can go in, and what's unique is each input you can put in. You can just assign and tell it what it is. You don't need to assign it to only one input. So you can say, your resistive sensor here on input 1, and input 2 is a current loop sensor, input 3 is a thermistor. You're not limited, so you can just use whatever input you want, but really you can customize it. You can even customize the size of your tank if you want a fuel tank. So you got an odd fuel tank that's made to fit.
Everybody does. Yep.
There's actually a customized mode that you can go into 10 different steps and say, fluid levels at 10% I'm here, at 20% I'm
Step
here.
it up, and it knows. And it learns that. So that's awesome. And then you mentioned on doing alarms and kind of if this then that scenario. So things like if it's windy and your sure shade is out, we can go ahead and we can get an alert that'll pop up on our screen if it's wind over 20 for 30 seconds or something to give you an alert, or just to automatically we can trigger it then as well to say bring the shade in. Same thing with oil pressures and things like that. We can set parameters for where we want our pressures to be at, right?
Correct, yeah. Within the Smartboat system, that you can choose what alerts you want to see. So you can know, you may not care that it's a high wind if you're just sitting at the dock. So you don't need to throw an alarm just because it's a high wind. But if you could say underway and you have your awning up, then you care if you got a high wind. So you may want to alert. So you can do anything from like, at a low wind, I would just want to kind of know, give me a warning that I may want to start thinking about putting the awning down. Well, high wind, and put a timer on it and say, you know, if it's been a high wind for over a minute, drop the awning automatically because I haven't responded to it.
Perfect. And like I said, guys, we're kind of giving a real high-level view of all this right now. Yeah. This is a real powerhouse, and I think we're just starting to see some of the potential, and you guys are continuing to add more to this as this goes on, right? As Correct. OEMs can kind of reach out to you and say, hey, we're looking at doing, you know, we'd like to monitor X, Y, or Z, and you guys will work with them, right? To set them up and get this even more dialed in for damn near anything, right?
Pretty much anything, yeah.
At this point.
And we're always looking for feedback. So we have a lot on boats now, and it's been especially doing huge in the retrofit market because there's a lot of boats out there that didn't even have capability of even reading their fuel level anymore because the gauges aren't even available. They don't make them anymore. With this with the Smartboat box, we can actually convert that old data on there. So there is always looking, especially in the retrofit, you get a lot of older equipment on there. We're always looking for feedback and something we can add for them. But so far, we haven't found too many that we can't control yet. But not to say it doesn't exist, because that's where we always look open to feedback and what someone may have. And we've been working with a few older boats that have done just that and turned it around for them.
This is a great consideration if you're doing a refit, guys, because like I said, engines, electrical, senders, anything that we can tie in a lot of stuff here. So you guys want to know more about this, reach out, airmar.com, or go on Instagram, follow them. You know, they're on Airmar there on Instagram, and you can learn more about this, or leave it down below in the comments. If there's enough interest, I'm sure they're going to let me come back here. We can go ahead and dive down a little bit deeper, or maybe we'll find a project boat to install this on where we can show you guys hands-on how all this stuff integrates and plays nicely into boats. Like I said, we're talking retrofit, but even on your newer boats, there's a home for this, even on a newer boat.
Even on
a
the
lot
newer
of
boats,
these sensors and different things like that. So it's not just for the retrofit, guys. So that's it. That is this week's Sundays with Sully. Thank you very much for allowing me to come here and do this.
Thank you for coming by.
And you guys know the spiel. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, share, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at Navtronics, also at Airmar. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.